Hi, my name's Tony Howarth. I'm going to put some short videos together on the recommendations of my new buddy Shocker. Let me just give you a little bit of background. My name's Tony Howarth, as I said. I'm married with 2 children and 2 dogs. I'm 61, but many years ago I suffered from some mental health issues. I called the Samaritans, and later on in life I got better and decided to be a Samaritan. I did that for a number of years. I don't do it now because my work schedule doesn't allow me to do it. So the video is what they're about. Well, what I want to do is just some short videos that tell us a little bit more about mental health, or certainly some of my views on mental health. The first one, what I wanted to do was just try to put into context what we mean by mental health, and then on future videos maybe talk a bit more in depth about them and some of the things that we can do to make our lives a little bit better, both for ourselves and for others. Okay, so the first one, mental health. Well, mental well-being typically has 2 elements to it. The first bit is how we're thinking and feeling, and the second, which stems from that, is how well we're coping with day-to-day life. So what is normal life? So normal life is, if you can imagine a big circle and you're in the middle of the circle, and within that circle there's a number of emotions that we have to contend with on a day-to-day basis. So we could be happy, we could be sad, we could be elated, we could be anxious, we could be concerned, we could be fearful, we could be content. There's lots of different emotions and they all fall within the circle, and they're all good emotions. Sad, feeling the blues, they're good because they make us learn things about life, things about ourselves, things about other people and things going on around us, and they help us cope. The challenge gets when the emotions start to go outside of the circle. So I have a little bit of a circle here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm hoping you can see that and it's not back to front. You can see you, and you can see some of those nice emotions in the middle. And on the outside, or just going on to the outside, you can see things like anxiety, depression, and mental illness. Now, anxiety, depression, and mental illness, or psychosis, I guess. Let me just break some myths about those 3 things. First of all, anxiety. We just tend to think that's being a little bit fearful, a bit scared, or a little bit anxious, like we are when we're waiting to go to the dentist or we're waiting to go for an interview. Anxiety isn't really like that. Not real tough anxiety. Anxiety can be things like panic attacks, where we're not just fearful or a bit nervous, we actually feel like our life could end any minute. Intellectually, we know it can't, but emotionally, for some reason, we think it will or it can. Not only that, once we get caught in an anxiety, we start to think and we start to try to solutionize. And the more we try to solutionize, well, the spiral starts to go down and down and down, and we get into rumination and we can't get out of it. We get in a lot of distress, and every single thought seems to weigh on our minds. Depression. I think it's fair to say lots of us, or lots of people, seem to think depression is some kind of lethargic, couldn't care less, can't be bothered to get up, sad kind of thing that's maybe you do to yourself. It's not. Depression is a brutal, fierce, relentless attack on the mind. Somebody once described it to me as having a knife stabbed in their face over and over and over again. And even when they manage to sleep for a minute and wake up again, that knife starts all over again. It's brutal. And you think it's never, ever going to end. Psychosis. I think there's so many different things been said about different kinds of psychosis. Split personality. I mean, what does that actually mean? Lost track of reality. What does that actually mean? Psychosis is typically some kind of delusions that you may be having, and they may be happening in part during the day. They might happen all the time. It can be things like, you may think that you're being filmed and you're part of a big movie or a documentary. It may well be, as in my case, I remember looking at the night sky and seeing it as a solid entity. Didn't feel like that all the day, but things didn't seem quite right and things were quite out of perspective. Now, when we think of anxiety and depression and psychosis in those terms, it becomes a little bit more difficult to cope with life. Now, I'm going to leave it there. Next time on the video, I'm hoping to talk about some of the issues we might be facing with COVID-19, but more importantly, some of the tips and tricks and things you can do to help with your mental health. Many thanks for listening. That's 5 minutes. It's a long time. Take care all. Bye.